Top 10 shocking live TV show moments that will go down in history. Number 10, Chris Rock and Will Smith. How could it not be? Chris made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith, Will's wife, and her shaved head as he was getting ready to present the award for Best Documentary Feature. Due to alopecia, Pinkett Smith has made it clear that she shaves her head. Will laughed, got up on stage, slapped Rock, and yelled the iconic, "Keep my wife's name out of your mouth," before returning to his seat. Smith would go on to win Best Actor for King Richard that same night and was banned from attending Academy events for a decade as a result of the incident, which shocked both celebrities and viewers. On top of that, he quit the Academy. Number 9, flashing at the Oscars. A lot of Oscar drama, I guess, in this video. This took place during the Oscars ceremony in 1974. Robert Opel, a photographer, art gallery owner, and ESL teacher, ran behind David Niven, who was presenting at the time, and ran naked across the stage while flashing a peace sign. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was almost bound to happen. Isn't it fascinating to think that probably the only laugh that man will ever get in his life is by stripping off and showing his shortcomings? David said in a snap after Opel left the stage. Some people have been led to believe that Robert Metzler's rumors and the quick response suggest that the stunt was actually planned. Given that Robert Opel passed away 5 years later during an attempted armed robbery at his apartment, the truth appears to be impossible to know. Number 8, Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake. In 2004, Janet Jackson and JT performed at the 38th Super Bowl halftime show. At the end of their set, Timberlake reached across Jackson's chest and pulled her clothing to expose her breast, which was referred to as Jackson's wardrobe malfunction. MTV claims that while her breast was exposed, the rip was not planned. Under the ripped garment, a red-laced bra was supposed to be there instead. This event drew a huge response from the general public. Some individuals asserted that the event was a premeditated prank, while others suggested that the media's attention may have been excessive. Regardless, it was a fascinating examination of how mainstream culture viewed sexuality. The incident showed that there was still a stigma around female sexuality and how society imposed unrealistic expectations on women. It highlighted the double standards between men and women in terms of their sexual expression, with Timberlake being able to get away with his actions unscathed, while Jackson bore the brunt of public scrutiny. This moment also illuminated the lack of agency given to women in such an event. It was assumed by many at the time that Jackson had consented to what happened when she clearly didn't. The wardrobe malfunction left a lasting impression on pop culture, serving as a reminder that we must critically examine our views on gender roles and women's autonomy in general, and must strive for greater understanding and respect for all genders so that such incidents do not happen again. Furthermore, this moment showed that there must be greater representation for women in all aspects of media production so that their voices can be heard loud and clear. In order to create a fair and more equitable society, we must learn from the past and move towards a future in which everyone's rights are respected. We owe it to Janet Jackson and all those who have suffered similar injustices due to gender-based prejudice. Let's take these lessons forward as we work towards creating an equal world and society. But anyway, number 7, the 2003 VMAs. The 2003 MTV Video Music Awards were coincidentally hosted by Chris Rock. During their performance, Madonna played as a groom, while Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera played brides that were being kissed by Madonna. The gender role switch and the LGBTQ+ themes presented were an uprise to many, and the event garnered a good amount of media attention. It was a moment that will live in infamy, or depending on who you ask, it may have gone down as one of the most iconic moments in musical history. At the 2003 VMAs, Chris Rock took the stage to introduce Madonna's performance with Britney and Christina by her side, but what happened next shocked everyone. Madonna kissed both of them right in front of a cheering crowd. The daring move was seen as a bold statement about gender roles and acceptance for LGBT+ individuals. People either loved it or hated it, but no matter what anyone thought, it certainly made an impact. In fact, the entire event became such a media sensation that people are still talking about it nearly 2 decades later. So if you were at the 2003 VMAs or happened to catch it on TV, then you know exactly why this moment was so extraordinary. It was a daring move that ultimately challenged the way we look at gender roles and LGBTQ+ acceptance in media. We may never forget Madonna's performance, but it certainly stands as a reminder that progress takes courage. Number 6, Steve Harvey. In 2015, after Steve Harvey announced the winner of the Miss Universe pageant and Ariadna Gutierrez of Colombia had been crowned, Harvey returned to the stage to say that he made a mistake and the winner was actually Pia Wurtzbach of the Philippines. Harvey stated that he was confused as both names were listed on the card. The internet reacted with shock and awe, and the hashtag Miss Universe 2015 became a trending topic on Twitter. It was a momentous moment in pageant history, one that people still talk about today. What made it even more incredible was that this wasn't just any old slip-up. This was an international gaffe of epic proportions. It's not every day you get to witness someone make a mistake so huge that it stops the world in its tracks. And while some may see it as an embarrassing blunder, others look back on it as a reminder to be careful when speaking publicly, and to always double-check your facts before committing to them. So even if we can't crown Ariadna Gutierrez Queen of the Universe, we can at least thank Steve Harvey for providing us with one unforgettable moment. With that in mind, let's make sure to always remember to think twice before speaking. After all, you never know when your words could take on a life of their own. And who knows? Maybe one day we'll have another Miss Universe pageant surprise up our sleeves, and that could top even the great Steve Harvey blunder. Number 5, Elvis Presley's provocative dance. On June 5th, 1953, during Elvis Presley's second appearance on The Milton Berle Show at NBC's Hollywood studio, Presley debuted his iconic hip gyration dance. The exhibition of this new dance move was met with media backlash and public outcry. The dance was deemed provocative, suggestive, and vulgar. Months after this event, a letter from a Wisconsin Catholic diocese was sent to FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover, bringing the inappropriate behavior to his attention. It is incredible how much pop culture has changed. Austin Butler portrayed the infamous moment when he played the king of rock and roll in the biopic. It's amazing to think that something as simple as a dance move could have caused such an uproar. Elvis's pelvic thrusting and gyrations were seen by some as trying to put the innocence of youth in danger. Still, it looks like his moves weren't enough to keep the public away from his shows. Tickets sold out quickly after he performed on The Milton Berle Show. Is it any wonder why people called him the king of rock and roll? Today, it's hard to imagine that something so seemingly harmless could have been met with such outrage. Nowadays, we recognize Elvis's dance style as classic and iconic. One of those things that most people can identify regardless of their musical preference or age. It's interesting to see how pop culture has evolved over the years, and it's funny to think of what future generations may think about today's music and dance moves. Will they be seen as revolutionary or outrageous? It certainly was expected that Elvis's hip gyrations would cause such a stir back in 1953. After all, he wasn't the first musician to shake his hips on stage. In fact, some of his predecessors had been doing it for decades, but Elvis brought something new to the table, an electrifying energy and charisma that could not be denied, even if it was considered too controversial for some audiences. Number 4, Kanye West. Following the 2005 Hurricane Katrina disaster, Kanye and Mike Myers appeared live on MSNBC to discuss fundraising through Red Cross. Despite some of the more recent criticism directed at Mr. West, the segment that he appears on shows a candid, passionate, and nervous West who makes a case against the media's representation of Black Americans and disproportionate effects that Hurricane Katrina had on the Black population of New Orleans. Kanye finishes his monologue with the infamous line, "George Bush doesn't care about Black people." The surprise of Myers, and in the next shot, Chris Tucker, is palpable. The clip then cuts to a commercial break where Mike Myers can be heard saying "wow." As the camera pans out, Kanye is seen standing, his back to the audience, as he takes a bow. The scene changes again and we find ourselves with an uncanny juxtaposition. Kanye in his at the time signature pink polo shirt, surrounded by adoring fans, while Myers stands alone on stage looking completely stunned. In that moment, it's clear that something special had happened, something that transcended hip-hop culture and touched the very soul of a nation. As Kanye stood there basking in the glory of having spoken truth to power, no matter how uncomfortable it made those watching, Mike Myers was left standing alone, a witness to history. It was a moment that will live on in infamy and one that solidified Kanye West as a cultural icon. Number 3, La La Land mistakenly announced as the Best Picture winner. The year was 2017, and the ceremony was just about over when Faye Dunaway and Warren Beatty took the stage to announce the last and most prestigious award of the night. But due to an envelope mix-up, Dunaway mistakenly announced the winner as La La Land. It wasn't until the cast and crew of La La Land were already on stage that producer Jordan Horowitz was forced to come forward and explain that Moonlight had actually won. Chaos ensued as all eyes shifted from shocked to confused and then eventually to joyous celebration for Moonlight's historic win. A truly dramatic moment deserving of a place in Oscars history. As Beatty quickly came back to explain, the card in the envelope had read Best Actress Emma Stone, La La Land. It was the card for an award Stone had already won earlier in the night. In Beatty's moment of confusion, he tried to show the card to co-presenter Dunaway. Dunaway, only seeing the text La La Land, announced them as the winner. Backstage and quickly on stage as well, chaos erupted as the mistake was realized. Moonlight's producers and cast replaced La La Land's and they made their acceptance speech. Number 2, Fear's performance. One of the many controversial SNL performances, on Halloween night 1981, punk band Fear performed, and to the shock of producers and viewers at home, they, along with the busload of fans they brought in to be their audience, started essentially destroying the stage. The band caused a reported $200,000 of damage that night, and the broadcast was cut off before their last song after one of the fans they brought screamed, "New York sucks," into the mic. And finally, number 1, Kanye West and Taylor. Of course, how could we not mention this moment that started the Taylor-Kanye feud? When Kanye interrupted Swift's acceptance speech for Best Video by a female artist at the VMAs to say that Beyonce should have won instead, celebrities, including Beyonce, reacted with shock and much of the audience booed. Later in the night, Beyonce invited Taylor on stage to have her moment after Bey won Video of the Year. That is all for today. Let me know what your favorite iconic moment was on live TV. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more juicy news on your favorite celebrities, and I'll catch you next time on The Rich Life.